Hello, my loves. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I am going over my sales on eBay in the month of September today. Now, I am sitting here at my kitchen table, ready to go to work, but I wanted to give you this video before I headed out. The very first thing that did sell was an Eloquii black shorts with a silver buckle. These sold for $7.10. The buyer did pay for shipping, and these did come from a flip-flop. I believe I bought out that flip-flop though. Now, the next thing to sell was a Patagonia full zip sweater. It was a men's sweater. This sold for $45, and this came from a flip-flop. I did not buy out the flip-flop, so that means that I split the profits approximately 50-50. On this one, I say 50-50 because I have my commission at 60%, but then I have to pay out the platform fee. I did also have this on promoted listing. One thing I want to remind you of is not to forget to include any kind of promoted listing, shipping discount, anything like that into your platform fees, because that definitely is included in there. Now, this next piece came from some free inventory that I sourced through the Nextdoor app. If you've been here a while, you know that I am all about this inventory that I got from this particular person. Even though this sweater only sold for $5, I was okay with that because it was free. You'll see in September and October, I am letting things go for basically nothing. I am setting the auctions for as pretty much as low as I am willing to accept a price for. There's a couple of bids on each piece, but really I'm just trying to get rid of some of this inventory specifically because it was free, trying to make space and then reinvest in some higher priced inventory. But I am right now so overwhelmed with some ThredUp rescue boxes and this free inventory that really I'm just kind of in a state of trying to clear out and kind of reset at this moment. This next piece was part of that trying to clear out. This Hot Wheels Barbie dream cart I bought for 25 cents through my mom. She does work at a lot of the retail stores and she sees what resellers are picking up. She'll go ahead and pick something up, tell me to put it up, and then of course I just pay her out whatever it costs. This one was 25 cents. It did sell for $1.99 after the platform fees and whatever. I obviously didn't really make very much money at all, but this is something that was just sitting there. It was from 2021 and we bought it last Christmas thinking that it would be a hot item and it would sell. Obviously it didn't, but I needed to get it out somehow. Maybe it is, and maybe I just sold it too low and somebody else is gonna benefit from it. In any case, it's out of my house, trying to clear things out here. This, I believe you pronounce it as Shakti, this skirt, it was an embellished, kind of beaded, embroidered skirt. This came from a flip-flop and it sold for $15. I, of course, then had to pay out the client because it did come from Flip. This bundle of John Barbato's button-up shirts came from a flip-flop. Together, they sold for $24. The buyer also did pay for shipping. Now with this particular flip-flop, the client asked for their items back without any kind of communication to me, and these were actually the last thing that sold before they requested their items back. There was a couple of things that were on auction waiting, so I did go ahead and take the chance and buy those items before I sent the items back. This particular flip-flop was not good. There was a whole bunch of like button downs of like Reese, there was Hugo Boss, there was this Barbato's, there was a couple of Barbato's shirts, I don't know, just a Burberry, there was a couple of those, and they were said to be in a new or new without tag condition, and when I got them, a whole bunch of things were stained. So I, of course, communicated with the client, asked what they wanted to do. I did try to get the stains out of a couple of them. The stains were not coming out. It seemed like somebody else tried to get out stains as well, and maybe that's how they ended up on Flip. I'm not really sure, but anyways, I ended up just taking the pictures of the items and then taking the pictures of the stains as well. The client ended up saying, yes, go ahead and donate them. So I just went ahead and took those to my school because you know, kids are always willing to wear things that are labels, even if they're a little bit stained for me. So that was me giving back to my community, and you know, I knew I wasn't going to make money on them, and it seemed like the client was perfectly okay with that. The fact that they requested their items back with no notice to me tells me maybe they weren't okay with it. I'm not particularly sure, but in any case, that particular lot is shipped back and it's out of my hands. That's the end of that. These Spider men's black shorts came from a flip lot of a beauter. So hello, Jennifer. These sold for $8.50. The buyer did also pay for shipping. I then, of course, had to pay out the client as well. These Donald Pliner black loafers came from a flip lot. This is a flip flop that this was the one piece that I was so excited to get. It ended up selling for $11.22. That 22 cents tells me that it was sent on an offers to watchers. That's just kind of my notification, my reminder that I did send an offer on this. I could have said $11, I could have said $12, but I chose $11.22. That usually catches people's eyes as well. If they get kind of like an off offer like that, they are, I don't know, it's like a psychology thing. People are like, oh, it's not quite $12. Okay, maybe I'll go ahead and accept it. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I would do the same thing. I would get sucked into that trap. So I'm thinking maybe that's what happens with other people. They did pay for shipping on this one. I don't know if you heard that little ding notification here. I do have Prime Lister running in the background, and it is relisting my entire Poshmark closet. So if you hear little dings like you did before, if you heard it, that is exactly what is happening. I do have an increase in sales on Poshmark. I don't know if it's because Prime Lister is doing its thing. Could be because it's Q4, or it could be just because the algorithm and things are picking back up, but things are definitely picking back up on Poshmark for me, absolutely on eBay as well. This Perception Concept piece sold for free. It sold for a penny, and the buyer did pay for shipping because you still have to, or I still had to pay out the eBay fees on the shipping. I pretty much lost money on this piece, but it was something that I was hoping would trigger more sales, which is why I was letting it go for that little bit. This did come from that free inventory, so I didn't lose money necessarily on the cost of goods. You hear a little ding once again, that is Prime Lister going off. Yeah, I didn't lose money on the cost of goods, but I definitely lost money because I had to still pay out the eBay fees. This Flying Tomato, it was like a yellow and blue tropical dress, came from a flip lot. This is an Anthropology piece. This sold for $2.25. The buyer did pay for shipping. I estimate my cost of goods to be just under $2 on those ThredUp rescue boxes. So I pretty much made flat out on this one, minus the platform fees. But again, my goal here is to just clear out some inventory. I know a lot of people have been working on clearing out their old inventory through Whatnot. I have not signed up for Whatnot just yet. I do not have past shows available to me. So this is my version of kind of doing that exact same thing and just trying to clear out some older inventory. This Under Armour blue cold fitted, like workout shirt came from a flip flop. This sold for $5. The buyer did pay for shipping. I did accidentally overcharge on shipping, so we did make out a little bit on the shipping on this, but not enough to make up for it. I actually accidentally sold this piece twice. So the second time I did have a similar one, but it was a different size. It was a slightly different style. Luckily, the second person, this person who received it, is also a reseller. So I was kind of able to make the deal and say, hey, I can give you half of the money back if you're willing to just go ahead and resell it and take it as, you know, you're buying inventory. And they were perfectly okay with that. So I was kind of taking a chance on that to see what they would say, because they did have the clothes. The shipping, it wouldn't be worth it to ship it all the way back. Luckily, they accepted and everything was all good. I'm hoping that that sale works out for them. This Massimo kind of peasant blouse came from a ThredUp rescue box. This sold for $5.50. The buyer also paid for shipping for it. Again, my cost of goods is approximately $2. It's just under $2 on those ones, so I pretty much made my money back on that one. But as I've said before, my goal is to just clear some things out at this point in my reselling journey. Same goes with these shorts. These exhilaration shorts came from actually the free inventory that I sourced through Nextdoor. So any profit is profit to me. They did end up selling for only 99 cents. The buyer luckily did pay for shipping on this one. Now this Stella McCartney dress I was hoping would go for a little bit more than I did. It was on an auction, but as I said previously, I set my auctions to the lowest amount that I'm willing to accept. There was only a couple of bids on this. This ended up selling for just $34. It was a little bit damaged and there was no size tag, so I already knew that it was gonna go lower than I wanted it to, but I was hoping that it would go for a little bit more than $34. Whoever received it, hopefully it worked out for them. I did not get any feedback on this one. I didn't hear yes or no either way, so hopefully it's somebody that worked out for them and everything is all good. My cost of goods on this one was only $4, so I definitely did make out on it. I was just kind of hoping I would make out a little bit more than I did there. This Massimo for Target brown suede dress came from some free inventory that I sourced through the Nextdoor app. This sold for $2.01. The buyer also paid for shipping. As I said before, just trying to clear out some inventory, so that very low price that it sold for, I'm perfectly okay with. These Versace gold heels are leather platform heels. I sourced through ThredUp, in which I was buying back some of my inventory that didn't sell within the selling period. I also had some credits. So with all that involved, I spent about $50 on these shoes, hoping that I would just make a little bit of money. That's kind of my way of trying to, step up my inventory just a little bit more here. So these ended up selling for $153. The buyer also paid for shipping on this one. So I definitely made some money on this, and it got me kind of in the mode of trying to get more of those higher ASP prices, which is why I'm really trying to get rid of some of this super old inventory that is just making me like $1 here, $1 there. This Mimo Moda suede or leather jacket came from some, I guess the company is now called Helpsy. I got one of their fur coats boxes back when they first became a company, and this particular piece sold for $9. I want to say each piece was $25, but I definitely made my money back overall. So at this point, this bulky coat, I'm just trying to get rid of. And obviously for $9, somebody was extremely happy to receive this. They did pay for some of the shipping as well. Now I do have just one more coat from that fur coat haul that I am just waiting out for the right buyer for. It does look like it's completely new. It's in beautiful condition. There is a little tag on it that says it's worth about $400. So I have it priced, I think, about $300. I will accept anything that's even in the $100 range just to clear it out, but I'm not going to let that one go for as low as $9. These Zara women's blue mom jeans came from a ThredUp rescue box, which I was surprised to see mom jeans in a ThredUp rescue box, because they're in style right now. So I would think for sure they would sell. Maybe they were priced too high and they didn't meet their consignment period, and that's how they ended up in the ThredUp rescue box. I don't know. I could just be completely making things up around here. But these sold for $14.60. The buyer also paid for shipping on these ones. This Lafayette 148 New York blazer was something that came from a flip flop, but I did buy out that flip flop for a cost of goods of $4. Same with that Stella McCartney piece. It came in the same lot. This ended up selling for $24. The buyer also paid for shipping on this one. I've said before, if you are looking into flip, my recommendation is to try to buy out the lots, because if I had to pay the client out for these ones, I obviously wouldn't make as much money. And I would say I usually try to put about $4 as my cost of goods, depending on the lot. Sometimes I go a little bit less, sometimes I go a little bit more. Like for shoes, I go a little bit higher. For things like, I don't know, mall brands, I go a little bit lower, but $4 as my cost of goods is kind of my base of what I try to land on. Sometimes the clients kind of negotiate back and forth, which is perfectly fine. It's their inventory. I never take offense to anything at all. It either is a deal or is not a deal. In this case, it was a deal, and I was able to make a little bit of money here. Now this Athleta piece, I did not buy out this flip flop. It did come from Flip Flop. It was a sweater. It was purple. It sold for $22. I, of course, then had to pay out the flip client, which is about 50% after the platform fees and promoted listings and whatnot. These loft black, kind of loose, flowy pants came from a Quick Lots Amazon pallet. Believe it or not, these did end up in that Amazon pallet. I don't know if they have that particular pallet available at this present moment, but I will check after making this video. If they do have it available, I'll put a little picture here to show you what to look for. If they don't have it available, there will be nothing here for you. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. If they do have it, even if they don't have it, I will put the website for Quick Lots in the description. So make sure you go ahead and check it out, because I have made quite a bit of money on this particular pallet. These sold for $20.22. That 22 cents tells you that it was on an offers to watchers. The buyer did pay for shipping. Now, I estimated my cost of goods to be roughly 50 cents, but because I made so much money on this pallet so far, it almost feels like it's free at this point. So yeah, if you are just getting into things and you want to get a really low cost of goods, I highly recommend checking out to see if that pallet's available. This Zara black ribbed short sleeve jumpsuit came from a flip flop. I did go ahead and buy out this flip flop, so my cost of goods on this was $4. This sold for $15. The buyer also paid for shipping on this one. This Hugo Boss button-up shirt came from a flip flop. That flip flop that I had with the Jean Barbado shirts that I said, like, the client just like randomly requested their items back before the consignment period was over. I don't know. It was a really weird situation. I did have to contact Flip and like, is this a glitch? What's going on here? And Flip was very professional about it. They did just say, unfortunately, the client did request their items back. The only thing that was weird to me is that they didn't say anything to me. So when I did send the items back, the address changed. So I was thinking maybe they moved and they wanted to make sure they got everything set before they moved. It was just weird that there was no communication to me. It was just immediately the lot was closed out. I was not able to chat with the client at all. I just had to go completely through Flip. But anyways, this piece was one of the pieces that sold before I was able to send that back. It did sell for $16.50, and I, of course, then paid out the client their approximately 50 cents or 50% on the actual profit for this. So the $16.50 is what I put into the system of how much it sold out for, but because then I have to eat the cost of goods, or I have to eat the platform fees. It ends up being about 50% of the platform or the profits. Wow, I'm really struggling here before work. I think I need to drink some more coffee. This J. Crew pink tulle strapless like sweetheart neckline dress came from a ThredUp rescue box. So my cost of goods was just under $2. This sold for $9.10. The buyer also paid for shipping on this one. Ooh, and I lied about the Under Armour shirt before. There was another ding from Prime Lister going off. This was the Under Armour shirt that sold. It was the second time that it sold, and this is the buyer that I partially refunded because they also were a reseller. So this, it was $4 what it ended up going for, including that refund there. So obviously didn't make very much money on those pairs, but it was something, like I said, that was just out of my house, and I put $1 or $2 as my approximation on flip. I always put way less on flip than I hopefully am going to get for it. And then if I get more, obviously the flip clients are pleasantly surprised. If I get just that, that's what I promised you, so I can't really feel bad about it. So that's why I typically say I'm gonna get less than I actually get. So that is all my sales on eBay in the month of September. Of course, now pretty soon here I'm going to be jumping into my sales in October. So if you're not yet subscribed and that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That allows my videos to continue to show up on your homepage and the homepage of others, and it allows us to continue to learn and grow together.